Hello, vinyl community. Number 2 today. And this is more of a straightforward vinyl find. And hopefully I'll remember how to do everything correctly. I think I will. Anyway. This is going to be kind of a catch-up. This is going to be some stuff that I picked up before I went on vacation and forgot to show. I just didn't have time. And some things that I picked up afterwards. So, let's start off real quick with a Steve Hackett album, which I found. Had never seen this before, never heard of it before. And I looked it up, and it got very good reviews from a number of sources. And but oddly enough, it had a different cover listed on, at least on the AllMusic. I think it was the AllMusic site. And I was kind of curious. It was very strange. And then I just want to make sure, is this the right one? Is this the right thing? And yeah, apparently it's on Lamborghini Records from 1983. But apparently this is the original cover. It's been re-released since then with a different cover. Maybe they had a copyright problem with the painting. Maybe the subject matter of the painting was unacceptable to whoever re-released it. I don't know. Who knows? But it's a beautiful Steve Hackett album, acoustic guitar. It's great. Highly recommended. So it's kind of a compilation. When I read about it, and I know there are some who are going to be more knowledgeable about this than I am, but it was an ongoing project for a few years, and he finally compiled everything that he had been working on and had presented this to one record label, and they kind of rejected it. They didn't like the idea of it, and finally Lamborghini Records, we've never heard of before, but manufactured and distributed by PRT Records. So anyway, here's the back side of it. It's very interesting. I don't know if you can see this or not. It may not be back far enough. We never know about the reflections. So I try to take these things out, but I don't. Anyway, that's what's playing right now. Hard to find. I don't think it's been on CD before. I kind of looked for it. All the different sources I looked for didn't list Bay of Kings. That's the name of this album. I don't think I even said that. Bay of Kings is the name of this album. So, be curious to hear what other people have to say about it if they know about it. I'd forgotten that I'd picked up a copy of Voyage of the Acolyte on before I left on vacation. I think I have 2 copies now, but this is a UK copy on the wonderful Made in Great Britain. I'm pretty sure this is an original release, but it's in great shape. But the famous Charisma label, one of my favorite labels ever. And just great, just in great shape. The cover's a bit worn, but I think the other copy might be a U.S. copy, so I'll have a UK and a U.S. copy, and I can compare and contrast and listen to them. That'll be fun. I was surprised the other night, so I'm mixing those I think I got before I went on vacation, but this one I just picked up recently, a couple nights ago, a copy of Sandy by Sandy Denny. This is a U.S. pressing. I got it for $3, and I kind of did a double take, thinking, no, they mean 13. It's barely been opened. It doesn't even want to open very much. But I was beautiful gatefold, beautiful artwork, and it's just a terrific Sandy Denny album. And you know, it's got Richard Thompson playing guitars, mandolin, Pat Donaldson on bass. Dave Zwarbrick on solo violin, just a lot of people. Bass arrangements by Alan Toussaint, produced by Trevor Lucas. So all kinds of ties to Fairport Convention and other English folks from 1972, UFO music, and it's released here in the U.S. on A&M Records. But the album, I want to say this is a re-release. It isn't. But it just looks so nice. It's like, so, you know, it's one of those, someone bought it, either played it and didn't like it, or just put it away and didn't play it. And then they priced it at just $3, and I'm happy to have it. Happy dance. And great cover. I always like this cover. Great shot of Sandy. So I missed getting her big, gigantic. I have one box set of Sandy Denny's. Came out just a few years ago. But there was a giant box set that had 20 or almost 30 CDs in it, I think, maybe 18. I don't know. It was some ridiculous number of CDs. I thought, well, they wanted almost $200 for it from Amazon UK, and I thought to myself, yeah, I'm a Sandy fan, but I'm not a huge Sandy fan. Well, they were very limited, apparently. There was never any indication that these were going to be all that limited, and now they go for almost $1,000 when you find them listed. So. Crazy. I bought a reissue of this recently. This is Gene Clark, No Other. Great album, great Gene Clark album. I have this on CD. There's a couple of versions of this on CD. One that's just the album, one that's the album and a couple extra tracks, and then one that's the album, and then they repeat the album, but they're different versions of the album, except for I think one song. They didn't have an alternate version, but then they add an extra song onto it. So, that's worth seeking out just to get the alternate version of the album. But it's kind of hit and miss. It's hard to find it. And there have been a few reissues of this on CD. This is, I think, the first reissue on vinyl. And it's 4 men with beards. And they do a pretty darn good job of reissuing it. That's why when I saw this, I heard about it being reissued. And I saw it up at Easy Street. I nabbed it. So haven't listened to that yet. I had this once a long time ago. And for whatever reason, I don't have it now, but I've got it again. This is not I know they're reissuing this, and they're putting out the Jumbotron version of it and all that. This is an import. It's got a barcode in the back, and it's on it says Fly Records, A&M Records. I don't know when this was released. It doesn't really have a re-release date, but it's this interesting A&M Records label. So I'm a little confused. I got to do some more research on this, but it's clearly an import. Published by Lupus Music Company Limited. So, yeah. Anyway, it's an European pressing. I've got to find out a little bit more about this. I don't think this is the new re-release. If it is, fine. If it isn't, so I think there should be a gatefold. But anyway, I was happy to have this again on vinyl to go with my other T-Rex. Some of which I'll have to show some T-Rex. I have a couple. The first 2 albums I have originals. Just kind of, just happen to have them. Memphis Final Gym and the Misses. I know you guys were on a quest to find all the Klaatu albums, and that I remember when the rumor came out, and I remember walking into a really small record store, probably as big as what you see here on the Ave up in the U District, and I'd heard all about it, and I walked up and I saw the album cover, recognized that. I saw the album cover of Klaatu's album and saying, "Oh, this is the Beatles." It's rumored that it's the Beatles. I remember standing there and looking at it and going, "No, I don't think that's the Beatles." I didn't even hear the music. I might have heard some of the music. I'm not sure. But I just sort of looked at the album. I just went, I just don't think they would do that. So I just never fell for it. It's an interesting. It would have been fun if it had been true. And it was interesting, but anyway, until now, I never really sought out to get any of their albums. I don't know why. I just didn't. But I watched the clip where you found the hard to find, the last one in your list, hard to find album. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it was only released in Canada. And oddly enough, at one of my local stores here, what do I come upon but the first one I buy is the last one you bought, which was the hardest one to get. So I've started my Klaatu collection. It's got a punch-out hole up here, but that's fine. It's in great shape. Inner sleeve is in really good shape. And interesting to read about the history of the band and where they went to and came from. And so it's a nice label, which is upside down to you, but right side up to me. So, Capitol still, which I thought it wasn't on Capitol. I guess it was on Capitol. It just wasn't released in the U.S., like you said, so it's hard to find. Well, I remember you saying that it was difficult to find because of that. And so when I saw a copy of it, I nabbed it. I figured, yeah, we'll probably want this later on. It'll be even harder to find. and it was in great shape. Aside from the punch out hole. That being said, I picked up a copy of another album of theirs, which I believe this is their second album. I'm not 100% sure. The Hope, I think it's the Hope album. It's not up front. Yeah, Hope. So I've got that. And Orange, Capitol label. Not my favorite Capitol label to buy things on. Mostly because when Capitol is putting out the Orange label, this feels pretty sturdy. The Orange label was out at a time when the gas crisis was going on in the 70s. And because of that, they used recycled vinyl. They would use a thinner, a smaller weight of vinyl when they were pressing albums, and so not the best quality vinyl to buy, but that's probably when the album came out. It came out during that time, but that actually feels a little bit heavier than normal albums. I've got some of the Beatles albums on the Orange vinyl, and they feel a little bit flimsier, but anyway. Bouncing back and forth, but this is another one from before, along with those. I finally picked up Robyn Hitchcock, Propeller Time. Robyn Hitchcock and the Venus 3, Propeller Time. So this is one I think I've got the download of it from Yep Rock, or I've got the CD. I think I got the CD actually. So, but this was becoming harder and harder to find on vinyl. I wanted to nab it before it became history. So happy to have that. It's a great cover. It's probably it's double wrapped here, so it's probably even harder to see with the light and all. I don't know. I think actually straight on, actually it ends up being better. Just some inexpensive things I found in the $1 to $3 bin. XTC's Black Sea. I think I've got a copy of this already, and I've certainly owned it in the past. One thing I haven't had, and this is, it's got the original inner sleeve on Virgin RSO. What I don't have, what I've never owned, is a copy of this with the green bag, the green paper bag that it slips into. Every time I've come upon it, the green paper bag just looks like crap. It's either torn, or it's got a stain on it, or it's faded. And I'm just gonna hold. This is only $3, so I figured, I'll nab this. But I'm just gonna hold out until I can find a good one, and I will eventually. It will come to me in due time. Promo copy of a Stevie Winwood comp for a 2-disc set, $4, great shape. So I thought that was cool. I definitely went out and picked that up. And it's got all the inner workings of it. It's basically got a booklet attached to it on the inside. It's clipped down here on this side, so I should take the vinyl out. Yeah, it's all clipped on the inside, so I haven't prepped some of these like I usually do. I haven't taken the stickers off and all that, but the standard UA United Artists label. And nice booklet attached on the inside talking about his career up until that point. Looks a little like Mick Jagger there. Anyway, so $4 and everything was in great shape. Had to get that. Here's another great $4 find. I know you guys talk about like dollar finds. I've got to start getting out to the Goodwills and all the secondhand stores and all that, where I can go through and look at for the find the do the eye popping 50 cents for a great find. There's some great finds for $1, $2, $3, $4 even. And this is a good one. She's Having a Baby, the soundtrack to the movie. It's just got a great lineup of songs from the 80s, including at the time the only place you could find a song by XTC called Happy Families. And it's since been released on maybe 2 comps by XTC. But it's got a whole bunch of great bands on here. Love and Rockets, Dave Wakeling does the song, Brian Ferry, Crazy Love, Everything But the Girl, Kate Bush, so just all kinds of great stuff. I remember Andy Partridge saying something about, I don't know, he just seemed very disappointed in the way they took the master tape for this song, Happy Families, and they remixed it or did something to it. He hated the way it sounded on this LP. And he said he would never let that happen again. He would never send multi-track tapes or whatever it is to allow them to rework the song. So it eventually came out on the comp, I think, the way he meant it, the way he wanted it to sound. So the official XTC comp. It's the end of side one. Oh, it's not. It's not. I still got a little bit of time. That's how I gauge. It's the best way to gauge time is to have a record playing. And I know I got 15 to 20 minutes. Different Tilbrook. Squeeze said goodbye on Saturday Night Live once. They played Annie Get Your Gun, or just prior to playing the song Annie Get Your Gun, which I love that song. They said, this is the last time we're going to play together, blah, 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 blah. And me being a big Squeeze fan back then, I went, huh? What? And then listened to them play it, and I was like, wow, that's great. You guys can't break up. They broke up, and then Difford Tilbrook just did their own solo album, which, a couple of good songs. Loves Crashing Waves. That's the only one that really stands out to me. I know that there are like 2 or 3 other songs that were really good. And the album overall is not bad. But it didn't take them long to get back together with Squeeze and put out another Squeeze album, which I was very happy about. This was a tough one to find. I think it still is a tough one to find on CD. I think I had to find... excuse me. Tea. I either had to find a Japanese pressing of it or an import. I don't know if it's ever been released in the U.S. I think it might have finally been released in the U.S., but at the time when I was looking for it, I can only find it that way. Trust, Elvis Costello. This cost me like $4 or $5. What's nice about it is, besides being a good album, Elvis Costello album, I always love finding the UK pressings because they're usually pressed better. They have a little something special about them. Love the label on this. Very cool. So, originally UK pressing with nice profile of Elvis with the hat and the glasses. Can't miss Elvis there. So, needs a little bit of dusting. Need to work on getting these stickers off, but yeah. And the B-sides from this album are great as well. If you can find I don't know which, Elvis Costello's catalog has been re-released so many times. I don't know which version of it, to be honest, is the best. Like Ryko's doing a good job of it. Ryko did a good job of it. Rhino's got it now, I think. And they're just releasing it in a little bit different way. The deluxe versions are great because you're getting like a live album from the tour that went with that album, almost. At least for the first 3, I think they had that way. So, but Ryko did a good job of... I've got to look and see. One of them had literally 2 discs. One disc was the album, and then the other disc was just all the extra stuff. And in some cases, I remember reading reviews saying that the second disc of just all the extras and all the B-sides was better than the original album. So in Goodbye Cruel World was the classic case. They said Goodbye Cruel World was actually improved with the original demos. It was a better album of just original demos. And hey, that's my cue. One last pickup, again, another UK pressing. This is my favorite Ringo album. Ringo, if you're watching, it's my favorite. Goodnight Vienna. And what's great is it's a UK pressing. I think it had the same kind of label in the US. It's an Apple product, but it has the Nebula label on it there. And it's, UK, a little bit heavier, better sounding probably. So, glad to have that. Anyway, so that's a kind of a catch-up post for me, and pretty well timed with the end of that Steve Hackett album, which I highly recommend. It's just a beautiful, beautiful album. I'm going to try to seek it out on CD as well. If I don't, I might have to find a way to do a needle drop so I can have it in my ears when I go to bed at night. Anyway, if I find anything else out, I will be getting back to you. I've got a couple more posts I want to make, hopefully today. So there may not be a 40-minute post, but there will be clips that will add up to about 40 minutes if you want to waste 40 minutes of your time listening to me yakking about music, which some of you do, and I appreciate that. I really do. Anyway, take care. Have a good day or night or morning or weekend or vacation or whatever. Talk to you later. Bye. Let's see. We must end with the controversial cover that I'm sure was banned in many countries. Naughty, naughty.